Howdy, I am Walter Benasiak, and this is Top 5. Here we count down the best and worst performances of our most beloved actors. Today we take a look at the best of Affleck. You got it, Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck has been around a long time, longer than one might think, and despite some ups and downs in his career, he's actually, pretty consistently, been a really good actor. Over the past several years, he's also established himself as a quality director, and he's put out some great performances to couple with his new job behind the camera. His newest, The Accountant, hits theaters this weekend, so to mark the occasion, let's count down his top 5 best performances. Number 5, Chucky Sullivan in Good Will Hunting. We all know this movie as the one that put Matt Damon and Ben Affleck on the map with their Oscar for Best Screenplay. And this movie is also filled with great performances, including one from Robin Williams, and yes, I've heard your requests and I will get to him soon. Affleck's biggest attributes in Good Will Hunting are his authenticity, his comedic timing, and his chemistry with Matt Damon. Will Hunting is a young man with an extremely high IQ. However, he's never seen the point in achieving his immense potential or putting his mind to good use. He's challenged to do so by MIT professor Gerald Lambeau and his friend, therapist Sean McGuire. When even his best friend Chucky starts to question why Hunting works manual labor jobs instead of using his brain to have a better life, Will must decide what's best for him as a crossroads presents itself. With Damon and Williams at the top of their game in this, it says a lot that Affleck is not lost in the shuffle. His scenes range from really funny,
"It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, cool. Fucking damn right it's cool. How you like me now?"
$84,000 a year plus
Retainer.
to effectively dramatic.
You don't owe it to yourself. You owe it to me. Because tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and I'll be 50. And I'll still be doing this shit. And that's alright, that's fine. I mean, you're sitting on a winning lottery ticket.
That scene right there in the construction yard might actually be the best of the whole movie, and it's because of Affleck. You can see that he's not holding back with his best friend, but he's very calm and matter-of-fact about the situation. There are a few emotional layers at work here. This also leads into the ending when he realizes Will is gone. Great scene from Affleck with just the reactions on his face. It may not be one of his biggest roles, but Affleck turns in one of his best performances in the screen time that he had. Number 4, George Reeves in Hollywoodland. He's the current Batman, but did you also know that Ben Affleck played Superman? Well, not really. I mean, kinda. Based on the true event of George Reeves' apparent suicide, Hollywoodland follows the investigation of his death while also featuring flashbacks to the occurrences before, during, and after his time as Superman in the popular 1950s TV show. Adrian Brody is really the lead in this movie, and his storyline is okay, but I would have much preferred a full biopic on George Reeves himself instead of the flashbacks that we got here. Affleck fits the look of Reeves really well. From the physicality to the voice, it all comes together for him in this. We really should have had more of him. We see a lot of reluctance from Reeves as he's casted as Superman. George wanted to be taken seriously as an actor, and playing the most famous superhero in the world back in the 1950s really pigeonholed him as that character for his remaining years. However, in public, Reeves still made sure that the kids who watched his show were never disappointed when meeting him in real life. The following rejections and crash of his career after the show seem to be a major contributing factor to Reeves taking his own life. All those conflicting emotions are portrayed great by Affleck. He really gets to use all his tricks in this. There's a great scene where Reeves is performing in a live Superman stage show and a child pulls a real gun on him so he can see the bullets bounce off Superman. Affleck talks him down, and that scene is filled with some really good suspense. Like all the interesting Reeves stuff in this, though, they cut it off early.
Kenneth? Why would you want to do something like that?
So the bullet bounces off, can I?
Well, if you did shoot me, and the bullet bounced off it might accidentally hit someone else. We don't want that to happen, do we?
We see Reeves snap at his girlfriend Toni Mannix when trying to break up with her, and that's a great example of things hitting a breaking point for the former Superman actor.
You never helped me. You could have talked to Eddie, you could have gotten me something, but you didn't, because you liked me where I was in a fucking red suit. You liked that. Well, that's not who I am. You understand? God damn you.
But George, that's all you were good for. 10-year-olds and shut-ins.
His girlfriend is played by Diane Lane, who's now Superman's mom. That's a rabbit hole I'm not jumping into. No. There are several potential scenarios shown about what actually happened to Reeves. The final, and most likely one, is the suicide that is the official cause of death. Affleck's facial expressions show a man who doesn't think he has much to live for. The silent despair Affleck puts forth here is really impressive. I don't hear this one talked about as much, and while the movie isn't anything great, Affleck shines as a complicated man living a complicated life. Number 3, Batman/Bruce Wayne in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. So, I'll admit I wasn't always on board with Batfleck. I was pretty upset when he was cast. This was taken the night it was announced. I was wrong. Ben Affleck has proved to be a really good Batman. Now, I've said my piece about this several times. Not the worst thing ever, but in general, I was not the biggest fan of BVS. However, with Wonder Woman a close second, I think Ben Affleck's Batman is probably the best part of this movie. Hold on, stop right there. What do you want, Zach? Shut up, you walking popsicle stick. Nobody cares about you. Let me take over. No. But the people want me to do this. This isn't about you. No, Zach, now get out of here. Fine. Batfleck has become quite the phenomenon. I'm cool! Due to the destruction of Metropolis at the hands of Zod and Superman, many people of the world, including Bruce Wayne, think of Superman as a threat to humanity. Batman decides the only way to protect the Earth is to destroy this threat. Meanwhile, Lex Luthor enacts his own plan to take down the Man of Steel. Right away, we get that this is an older, more grizzled Bruce Wayne, one that is supposed to invoke that of the older Batman in The Dark Knight Returns. They get the tone of his character about the same for the most part, with a lot of differences. This take on the character is a bit refreshing as we're seeing him at a point in his life that's further down the road from where he's been in any other live-action version. There's a lot of pent-up rage in this Batman that Affleck played very well. We get to see his motivations for hating Superman. We see him in the middle of the madness when Metropolis is being destroyed, and the imagery along with his vengeful stares perfectly portray his anger. Batman is also scary in this. There's an unpredictability surrounding his appearances that strike a chord with his urban legend origins. We also see some great scenes with Alfred that ground Bruce and humanize him just enough. There's anger in some of his words.
He has the power to wipe out the entire human race, and if we believe there's even a 1% chance that he is our enemy, we have to take it as an absolute certainty. And we have to destroy him.
And sentimentality in others. This is a powerful thing to think about.
I'm older now than my father ever was. This may be the only thing I do that matters.
Yes, there were a lot of missteps, Batman recklessly killing being one of them, but that's another story for another time. Overall, Affleck has the potential to be the best on-screen Batman. I think that in his solo movie, we might see that potential come to fruition. Time will tell. Number 2, Bartleby in Dogma. This movie was very controversial when it came out, and it's a pretty well-known fact that director Kevin Smith received death threats as a result of this being released in theaters. While I think it may have went a little too far a couple times, I really like Dogma. It's not perfect, but I think it has a lot of good things to say. Affleck and Damon as Bartleby and Loki are the best parts of the movie. Two fallen angels who have been banned from heaven wander the earth for years before finally finding a loophole that will get them back in paradise. The problem is that it will unravel existence. A group that includes Jay, Silent Bob, the 13th Apostle, and Bethany the Last Scion band together to stop them. Affleck and Damon play up their lighthearted, funny conversations very well. However, as the movie progresses, Affleck becomes the standout. His arc is a very interesting one. At first, he's the more level-headed of the duo, but later becomes the all-out villain. It's a slow turn that Affleck really gets into. There's a scene with Bartleby and Bethany talking on a train about their lost faith. The writing here seems very genuine, and Affleck's delivery is perfect. It's a sad conversation that shows off another layer to the Bartleby character.
One day, God just stopped listening. I kept talking, but I got the distinct impression that he wasn't listening anymore.
How did you know she was listening in the first place?
Well, I guess I don't.
Things get really serious when Loki questions Bartleby about the whole plan. The monologue delivered by Affleck here, with Damon occasionally trying to snap him out of it, is the best scene in the movie.
I asked you once to lay down the sword because I felt sorry for them. What was the result? Our expulsion from paradise. Where was his infinite fucking patience then? It's not right. It's not fair.
He plays a sympathetic villain that we can understand the motivations for. It's a multi-layered performance that Affleck nails. By the way, rest in peace, Alan Rickman. Ben Affleck has done some great work, more than just 5 performances. So, before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions. And the number 1 best Ben Affleck performance is Nick Dunn in Gone Girl. This and The Town are what made me take Ben more seriously in recent years. While his performance in The Town just barely missed this list, Gone Girl provides us with a solid character that is put through the ringer and comes out the other side a changed man. On the day of her 5th wedding anniversary, Amy Dunn goes missing. Her husband, Nick, quickly becomes the prime suspect as police and media pressure close in on him. Several revelations about the couple's relationship and who they are as people come to light during the investigations. Questions lead to more questions as what really happened to Amy slowly gets uncovered. This was based on the 2012 book by Gillian Flynn. The first time I saw this movie, it was difficult to see Nick Dunn's motivations. It was hard to read him, and that was by design. Affleck does a great job of planting doubt in your head about his character. As all this uncertainty develops, Affleck is still likable and charming. You're rooting for him even when you're not sure of his innocence. As the movie goes along, things get more and more intense as we see all of Nick's secrets squeezed out of him. He slowly adapts and changes as things get worse for him. The characters surrounding him also force a change in his public demeanor, which adds another fascinating layer to this performance. Minkus!
4.5 minutes is the correct answer. Hold your applause, please.
Mr. Minkus, you're wrong.
Wrong? As in, not right?
I'll give this movie credit for accurately displaying the insanity of 24-hour cable news coverage. Stories like this often become a circus on those types of shows, and Gone Girl parodied that type of national coverage perfectly. David Fincher directed this compelling tale, and it has some really strong rewatchability. A lot of that has to do with how Affleck plays things when you know how the story turns out. His performance is actually better upon a second viewing. If you're into salacious, disturbing mystery movies that have a lot of uncomfortable truths in them, you'll probably like Gone Girl. In my opinion, it contains Ben Affleck at his absolute best thus far. I want to hear what you guys think. What is your favorite Ben Affleck movie and/or performance? Who do you want me to cover next on the show? Leave a comment and let me know. Follow me on Twitter at awesome_Walter and come back next week when we count down the top 5 worst Ben Affleck performances. Until then, we'll see ya.